Hi, I'm Yegi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all. Family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yegi project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. Hello. Welcome back to the Yegi project. Today's topic is obsession. So I want to dive deep and see what are our current obsessions today. And if we have some unhealthy obsessions, what can we do to deal with them in a healthier way? And also, how can we introduce some really good obsessions in our life? Let's start with defining what an obsession is. So when I talk about obsession, I'm referring to the thoughts that are reoccurring in our minds about somebody or something, and we cannot stop them. They just keep coming back, and they almost seem uncontrollable. So obsessions don't necessarily have to be a negative thing on the regular. Sometimes we mistake the word obsession with the negative connotation of unwelcome thoughts that are just reoccurring and is uncomfortable. But an obsession doesn't necessarily have to be something negative. So there's a difference there. And also an obsession doesn't have to be connected to a worry or a concern. So that could be defined differently as well. When we have worries, those are more within reason and it can actually happen. But an obsession is something that can be irrational and we just can't stop thinking about it. I thought it'd be really interesting to dive in and see some of the things that we are currently obsessed with and why. So the first thing was superheroes. So this is one of the top things people search is, why am I obsessed with superheroes? And the reason behind it is actually that a lot of times in life we are looking for somebody to save us, let us get out of our reality, have superpowers, and for us to feel safe and secure knowing that there is a solution or there is someone that can save us. So that's one reason. Another reason is we have this calling that sometimes we want to be a superhero or have superpowers to save other people in our lives, where in reality, we may not be able to do that. And it's the same sense that it lets us kind of disconnect from our day-to-day reality of things and really kind of like see and have hope of the magic in the superhero movies. The next thing we are obsessed with is celebrities. Honestly, it took me a minute right now to just kind of bounce back ideas about why we're even obsessed about celebrities, because I personally never really have been obsessed with celebrities. Of course, there is talented celebrities that I love and I, admire their work, but I've never been obsessed where I even know their personal lives or follow them along. So I never got that. But now looking at it and thinking about it and talking to other people, actually, the reason why we are obsessed with celebrities is because in the past, they were like the perfect role model. A lot of A-list celebrities or celebrities were idealized and they were almost marketed or publicized as a perfect human and having perfect lives, right? But there was a mystery to it. We didn't know too much about them, but we knew what we needed to know to really want to be like the celebrities. And that gave us kind of like something to dream about, right? The nice cars, the nice houses, the nice clothes. That's what we were kind of sold. So that's why we were obsessed with trying to be like them or even trying to find out more about celebrities and what they're up to. But now with social media, and I think things have been changing and shifting, now everybody's kind of getting this human touch to them and we're getting to know them on a more personal level on social media. And even with the celebrities' flaws, we're almost being more connected to them and we're being able to relate to their issues. Like a lot of celebrities are now talking about mental illnesses and they're talking about all the things that they're going through, so we can connect with them and see, like they're human, but they also have these great lives. So then we end up being even more obsessed with them because now we can relate to them and have more hope that, hey, maybe I can have X, Y, and Z because this person with their real human side of it are able to accomplish it. So that was kind of cool to analyze and really think about, because I was like, why are we really obsessed with celebrities? So when I was doing research, there was actually something called celebrity worship syndrome. And that's when we are almost like worshiping the celebrities. The word is within it. And we want to live vicariously through them. So when our lives are not where we want it to be, it's easy to escape and be obsessed and worship somebody else's life. And in this case, it's the celebrity's life that we end up being obsessive over. So I found that really interesting. And I think it's kind of good to know it, because we may catch ourselves like, why have I been spending more time on social media or obsessing over this celebrity? Is it because something's off about my life currently that I'm not happy with, that I probably should pay attention to? So that's another reason why we might obsess over celebrities, is because we want to live vicariously through them. And again, just like the superheroes, kind of forget about what's going on in our lives. All right, so I can't stop laughing right now, but I need to do this next section. So the next thing we're obsessed with is true crime. And you guys, this is how much I don't watch TV, or I'm out of the loop of things, because I like to stay focused on what's just really important to me. I accidentally said that true crime is a TV show, because that's what I thought it was. I hear people talking about it and I think it's a TV show, Anyways, my mistake. So I'm going to redo this part, but I thought that was hilarious this whole time. I thought true crime was a TV show, and maybe somebody needs to come up with a TV show called true crime. But anyways, it's a genre. So this is why people are obsessed with true crime, or under that umbrella, getting obsessed over like serial killers or anything specific in that sense. So why are we obsessed with true crime? Honestly, I never got that personally, because that subject or that area never interested me to learn more about it. But doing research and learning about it totally makes sense. And I could see if I give it a chance, I'll probably get obsessed with it. So when I was doing research, one of the big things that came up was the need to solve mysteries and solve problems. So as humans, we naturally want to do that. So by following the true crime and by being involved in these stories, we really want to put all the pieces together and come up with a resolution, or come up with what happened. So that's one thing that makes us be obsessed with it and follow through with it. Another thing could be that we love that adrenaline rush of being put in a dangerous situation, right? As humans, having predators in the past, that's what makes us kind of like be scared, but also gives us that rush of adrenaline. So when we are being involved in true crime, we're not actually put in a danger or a dangerous situation, but we get that adrenaline and that satisfaction from that situation. Another reason why we actually get obsessed with true crime is that we want to learn more about it, because we want to be safe in our lives. So when we get to experience these things through other people's lives, it almost gives us free knowledge to be safer or to make better choices in certain circumstances. To talk a little bit more about why we're specifically also obsessed with serial killers is a lot of times as humans, we want to really understand people, right? And serial killers, their minds, their brains, it works differently, and we just can't comprehend like what's going on there. But we have this need to really try to figure it out and really try to understand them. So we end up being obsessed over it and trying to really follow and see why, right? So I think that's a main thing that people kind of don't realize why they are obsessed with them, but that is why we're obsessed with them. The last thing I want to mention of the top things that we are currently obsessed with is social media, of course. So why are we so addicted to social media? Honestly, social media could give us a lot of happy, positive feelings, although it can sometimes, or for some people, have the negative effect, but the obsession or the addictiveness of it is relevant. So why do we get obsessed over it? It's because a lot of times when we are getting new bits of information, it causes us excitement, it gives us something new to look at, and that's releasing the happy chemicals. It's giving us the oxytocin and dopamine releases with every like, with every new bits of information that we receive. So then we end up wanting more and more and more, because it's giving us those small fixes of good, happy juices, right? The second thing why we get addicted benefits to the social media is because we can also have it present and shape our lives the way we want to present them. We can choose to share what we want and hide what we don't want. And we can choose to kind of live our ideal self on social media. We can actually, even if we want, be a whole other person on social media with the way we present ourselves. So a lot of times that could be a reason why we get obsessed over it, because we can polish and we like the way we look on social media. And the last thing is we, of course, like to be connected to people. The human connection is very important. And as we talked about before, we do love to know what's going on in other people's lives. It just gives us a sense of connection, knowing what's going on in the world as well. So I hope that was interesting to you guys. I just found it really kind of cool of the reasons why we're obsessed with certain things, because sometimes I don't think of it that way, but it's cool to see the reason why we're obsessed. So the second thing I want to talk about is, why do we obsess and how can we deal with our obsessions in a healthy way? They say overall obsessions can come from DNA. Our brains could be chemically different where we're more prone to be obsessive, or outside environment factors can really trigger us to be more obsessive. Things like stress and all the other things in life that we have to deal with. Now, I do want to touch base that, again, the obsession I'm talking about, it is not the obsession of mental disorder like OCD or any other mental disorders that we can have that is causing us to be obsessive. It's just in general being obsessive overall. If you feel like you cannot control your obsessiveness, and I think a key factor that I read about is this: if you feel like your obsessions are making you make compulsive decisions or actions in your life that are irrational, that's when you really want to seek help and talk to a professional. Even if you feel like it's just getting in your way, if you're obsessed with something or someone, it may not be a mental disorder, but it's a good idea to talk to a professional to get more help and resources and advice to deal with it in a better way. I think for me personally, a good way to know that is if you are really having stress and anxiety about one thing and it's bugging you a lot for at least a few days. So that's a good indicator that maybe you want to seek some counseling about it. So what do we do if we overall feel like we're more of an obsessive person, or if we're going through a time in our life where we're obsessing over something or someone? Now, a lot of things that refer to obsession could be either obsessing something over the past or something about the future. So something that I read that can really help is meditation and mindfulness practice, to really try to stay in the present so we don't obsess about something that's not happening currently. That was the number one advice. The second thing is, again, seeing a therapist and talking through it and seeing if maybe you have some sort of past trauma that's triggering it. And then the third thing, which I think is really, really important, and we should all work on this throughout our life, no matter if we are feeling more obsessed or anything, is to manage our stress. So one thing that keeps standing out to me is how much stress is a killer. Like literally, I keep reading, it's like, okay, stress can literally trigger all these diseases that might never happen in our body, but the stress can trigger it to become real. So manage your stress, try to do things that de-stress you on the regular, even if you're not obsessive, since that's the topic of this podcast. But that's one thing we can do, is we can manage our stress and we can make sure that we are avoiding the people, the environments that are obviously causing us the stress or the anxiety. So that could be huge in trying to not trigger with us being overly obsessive with certain things or people. And the last thing is diversion. So you can change your environment, or you can take on a new activity to distract you with the thing that you're obsessing over. Lastly, I do want to end this podcast on a positive note. There are some healthy obsessions that we can introduce in our lives. And I think some of us are more obsessive overall. I think I'm personally overall more obsessive person in my life, and I've recognized it. Sometimes if I really put my mind on something, I can feel like I'm obsessing over it, but I learned how to deal with it in a healthy way. But some things that I do want to introduce in my life, or that is advice to introduce into all of our lives that is okay to obsess with, is things like working out, helping people to, of course, be helpful and also get that good feeling feeling of doing good. Self-care, even talking to your friends and chatting on the regular to feel that close bond with people is a great obsession. And the last thing is knowledge, right? We can be obsessed with getting more knowledge and information. All these things can lead to a better, happier, healthier lifestyle, which are great obsessions to have. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I always love that you guys tune in and are part of this Yegi project with me into bettering myself and helping you guys along the way. I do want all of us to live our best lives and become as successful, as fulfilled, as happy as we can be in this world. So please keep in mind, I'm here for you. Make sure you message us, email us if there is anything else you guys would like to discuss. We are open to it. Please give us a shout out. Have an awesome day. And again, thank you for tuning in. Bye. Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.